Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony here today. We're focusing in on the narcissist and psychopathic personality disorders that we see as defined in the DSM-5R, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual that is utilized by mental health professionals to diagnose and treat mental health disorders. The narcissist and the psychopath are both really personality disorders, but they're on the same type, if you will, but they differ in terms of their severity. And we're focusing in here a little bit more on what makes it antisocial. Antisocial meaning contrary to society, contrary to the greater whole or good. And one thing we definitely see that fits into the sociopathic or the antisocial personality in both the narcissist and the psychopath is their propensity to engage in pathological lying. Pathological lying means it is diseased or disordered in nature, is excessive in nature, and it really tends to be manifest or presented in the narcissist and psychopath really as much as on a daily basis. The narcissist and psychopath will engage in lying, either by hiding certain aspects of their self from others, hiding other relationships, hiding other finances, hiding other feelings. So they're very adept at concealing and just utilizing the tactic of pathological lying, even when it's not necessary. So it's just a way for them to basically puff up their sense of ego and their sense of self. Realize that the narcissist and the psychopath are devoid of a human value of empathy or a human characteristic of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand the feelings, needs, desires, and wishes of another. In other words, it's knowing what it's like to be in someone else's shoes. It's feeling their pain. It's understanding where they're coming from. It's getting what they're going through. And the narcissist, as well as the psychopath, have extreme deficits. Of course, it's each person is unique. Each person has their own situation, or expression of this, of course, based on their culture, their upbringing, etc. But very consistently, we see a lack of empathy within the narcissist and psychopath. So this gives them an ability to manipulate and control others without really feeling hurt by it, burdened by it. They don't really feel inhibited by lying. And in fact, they very much have been displayed to getting kind of an excitement about pulling one over on people and lying to others. They'll lie about the most everyday mundane of things. Like for example, a narcissist in a workplace who is responsible for the office supplies. Keeping the office running. They might, you have an issue with things printing out and they haven't replaced the ink yet. And then and very well that it's just a matter of them refilling the ink, but they haven't gone and done it yet. They're just really lazy in that way, or they're just irresponsible. And they'll, basically say, I don't know what's going on with the printer. I just don't know. Maybe it's broken. And then they'll just be like waving the sheet in front of you as an explanation why there's no ink. So it's a clear lie. So it's lying when they don't need to. And so when you see this in the narcissist or the psychopath, it can be almost quite laughable. But it's a real way of being disrespectful to others and getting their reaction. And of course, it's so that you're constantly thinking about them, paying attention to them, versus the productivity at hand. So furthermore, when we look at the antisocial personality disorder, it's, we see these individuals utilizing a charm, a wit, to overpower others. So a wit is basically, using quips, being very clever, to make people laugh. I mean, I'm not talking about a normal, personality of like, they have a good sense of humor, you guys laugh together and, but we're talking about the sort of an insidious use of sarcasm, caustic humor. It's always at the expense of another. So, you know, it's kind of like a dirty sense of humor where someone always has to, you know, it's always at the expense of another. And this wittiness is this facility with language and the ability to just kind of insult others, and not in a funny way. We're talking about in a mean and hurtful way, where others are insulted by it, minimized by it, poked fun at them, essentially, again, so that the person who they're making fun of, or the sarcasm, is always, you know, insulted in some way, berated in some way. They're meant to feel insulted. Their you know, intelligence is insulted. So, you know, when we talk about this being antisocial, it's very much against the societal norms to working towards the higher good, you know, the greater good, being productive. In other words, you know, being able to understand and embrace the contributions of others to promote to the higher good. So oftentimes, you know, when we see a narcissist in action, either in the workplace or in the family, there can be a lot of stifling of growth, stifling of productivity, stifling of you know, personal relationships, personal dynamics. There's usually going to be a lack in a system where a narcissist is truly in control. There's going to be a deficit, and it's usually due to, you know, this pathological lying. They're not living at one with the truth, the greater, higher good, which really does tend to counteract their very goal to be, you know, have more and one-up people and be superior. So in other words, they want it all on their side, and they're not able to really contribute to the higher good, the greater good of an entirety organization. There's always someone who is slighted. There's always someone who is minimized. There's always someone who is kept, you know, lower, subservient. And I'm not talking about, again, just, you know, in terms of everyday productivity. Everybody has their contribution. But what I'm talking is that there is definitely going to be a weaker chain in the link of that family or that system, made weaker because of their insidious antisocial tactics of manipulation, control, pathological lying, being callous, pitting people against one another, splitting, all that sort of activity. So remember that there's this antisocial or anti-good, really, I would say, negativity, toxicity that really is produced within the dynamics with a narcissism or psychopathic values taking place. So it's very important to get some clarity on this and realize, you know, that if you have, you know, been allured by this charm or this seemingly, you know, great, you know, this person where you felt love bombed, you know, realize that in essence there could be a lot of antisocial going on where you're in essence could be a target, victimized, and really sort of injured and hurt in the process. So you have to take steps to learn about this, protect yourself, declare boundaries, and definitely withdraw from continual abuse. And being able to have a vision for what you want for your life instead, where you're acknowledged and mirrored in a healthy manner and not an antisocial manner, where you're essentially serving as a victim and a support and a supply to a pathological or abusive type of personality. Peace and harmony with you here today. Hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.